Hello guys and welcome to my channel. I am your host Idikanobot and this is Isaac News. As you guys already know, on this channel our job here is to bring you up to speed with amazing development happening in our country Nigeria. On today's video we'll be looking at the NCDMB, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. This is the body tasked with monitoring and measuring the amount of local players in the oil and gas industry. So before this administration came into power in 2015, our local content in the oil and gas industry had, a very poor representation. A very poor representation. We had below 5% involvement by local players. What this means essentially is that, the Nigerian-owned companies who were involved in the oil and gas sector, Nigerian-owned companies who were acting as subcontractors or contractors, that would help in the value chain in oil production. Our representation has been low before this administration came to power. And the establishment of the NCDMB, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, had failed woefully in its objective to increase local content in the oil and gas sector. What we're going to look at in this video right now is the achievements that have been attained by this body. To begin with, I'd like you to know that the federal government built and commissioned a 17-story headquarters of the Nigerian Content and Development Board in Yenogwa, Bayelsa State in August 2020. This structure is equipped with about a 1,000-seater auditorium, with a 4-level car park, with a 10 megawatt power plant to power all its operations in the company. And this is the first time a Nigerian company has built a skyscraper. This is the first time a Nigerian company has built a skyscraper from start to finish. It had to happen at the NCDMB. It could happen nowhere else, no place else. Because these are the guys who are enshrined with the task of ensuring that our local content increases. How much value as a nation can we bring to ourselves? Lack of local content is the major reason why we have a very poor maintenance culture. Because we bring in guys from Europe, we bring in guys from Asia, we bring in guys from America to set up massive gigalithic infrastructure in our own country. And absence of local content then prevents us from maintaining the product we have established on ground. So we build companies like Ajuri Steel and things go wrong. We need to always ship in a crew from Russia because it's the USSR that built the Ajuri Steel. We need to always consult Russia to send in a crew to come and fix things that have gone wrong in the company. But this administration came in and gave the NCDMB a new mandate that they should ensure that local content increases majorly in the oil and gas sector and across board. It will be evident in the railway system in Nigeria. So the CCECC, which is a Chinese engineering company, are the ones that are building railways in the country. They will see, they have done a lot of massive infrastructure in Nigeria. But a deal was signed with this company by the Nigerian government that Nigerian players will be actively involved in every process in building rail, so that upon delivery of this massive infrastructure, our local players would be saddled with the task of maintaining this megalithic infrastructure. So every time we've had issues with our train, it is Nigerians who are fixing it. It's Nigerians right now who are fixing the rail tracks that have been, vandalized by bandits or by whatever you call them in the north. Recently, sometime last year, a train went off track because of vandalization of the rail lines and of the rail track. It is Nigerians that are fixing it. In the recent train attack where there were kidnappings in the country, and some of the trains were damaged. A particular coach was damaged, was shot, and it was damaged. It is Nigerian that fixed that particular coach and reinstalled it into the to the train lines. So this is the job of the NCDMB, although its major focus is the oil and gas sector, because we need to make our oil, we need to build our infrastructures, and we need to run and maintain it. And maintenance, it's a big deal in every country, in every industry that seeks to thrive. You can't thrive without maintenance because things would always fail. There would always be hitches here and there. We need people who can repair and fix these things. This is what the NCDMB, has been doing, and we're going to be looking in-depthly into the NCDMB and to the things it has done. So this is a long intro, a very long intro. At this point, I would appeal that you should please like this video, subscribe to this channel, share your thoughts on this topic that we're discussing right now, and enjoy the rest of the video. If you're not joining us on this channel, I'm your host Idika Nobot, and this is Isaac News. And on this video, we're looking at the NCDMB, which is the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. All right, moving on. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board is no other than Mr. Simbi Wabote. He came into office in this administration's new regime, that is in 2016, and he began to reanalyze and check out what has been done in NCDMB. So the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board was officially inaugurated in 2010. So in 2010 up until 2016, the participation of our Nigerian local players in the oil and gas sector had about a 5% representation. So we had about just 5% local content representation in the country. For a country who is heavily dependent on oil, our local players were just 5%, and we had to depend on the IOCs to do a lot of the job. What are IOCs? International oil companies. That's IOC in a Nigerian context, okay? International oil companies. So we had to depend on the international oil companies a lot of the time to get the job done whenever we needed to be done, and we had very little representation. Now, and a major objective of the NCDMB was that in a 10-year period, they were supposed to increase Nigerian content participation to about 70%. The idea was between 2010 to 2020, we should have increased our local content participation in the oil and gas sector up to about 70%. But we just had a 5% representation by the year 2016. But we can say right now, as of the time of making this video, in 2023, our representation officially, as a report that came out 2022, tells us that we have about a 47% local content representation in the oil and gas industry. This is huge, and we are seeking to bridge this gap and increase our representation to about 70% by the year 2027. So the NCDMB has still maintained its 10-year objective under the new leadership in the person of Mr. Simbi Wabote, trying to increase our level of local content. Why? Because of maintenance. The less we know and the less capacity we have in the oil and gas sector, the more difficult it would be for us to maintain the infrastructure we are putting in place. Modular refineries are being scattered across the country. Pipelines are being laid across the country. Industrial parks are being built across the country. Refineries are being set up in all geopolitical zones in the country. Refineries are being refurbished. The Edo refinery has been commissioned. The Port Harcourt refinery has been, rehabilitated. We have refineries in other parts of the country that are, being refurbished and rehabilitated. We need local content to maintain these things once they are done. Why? We source foreign investors to come and set up, refurbish, and help these plants to start working. We dey bid to transition these things to the Nigerian people to run in a few years' time, and this cannot happen without local players being heavily and actively involved in everything that has to do with their sector. So there is this perception that the IOCs, the international oil companies, are not supportive of local content, okay, and this perception is not true. Now, they may be slightly biased toward themselves as to wanting to maximize as much profit as they can, seeing that these are business ventures. These guys came to this country to make money and to do what they were asked to do and to maximize their profit in the same time. So when more and more people come to the sector, it's going to cause competition, and then now competition is good for the Nigerian economy, but it can affect businesses and tamper with their profit margin a little bit. But in the long run, it will be more favorable for the IOCs that more people come to the sector, because when Nigerians come to the sector and have a good representation, it's going to allow for, seamless flow of activities within that sector, because there are a lot of bottlenecks right now in the oil and gas industry, because these IOC, they come in, set up these massive factories, produce, and the other levels involved in this value chain are not functioning efficiently. The subcontractors needed for shipping, needed for moving equipment from one place to another, or for maintenance, or to do other things that need to be done. Imagine every oil company has its gas segment, its power segment, its refining segment, its drilling segment, and you need a lot of subsidiaries, a lot of other small oil firms to carry out some of these activities, because as a mega company, you cannot do everything by yourself. You have to outsource labor most times. And when we have a lot of indigenous players, it's going to make business easier for them, because now they can focus on where they need to focus on, and then delegate work or outsource labor from other local content players, so as to allow for efficient processing of their product and to sustain profit. Part of the objective of this body is to create 300,000 direct jobs. 300,000 direct jobs. That is 300 individuals being affected. Now let's do a little math, okay, together. So let's say that every family that has been empowered, or every individual empowered amongst these 300,000, okay, has family, is of a family. And let's presume that that family made up of five, because this person, if it's a father, if it's a man, a married man, has a wife, let's presume he has 3 children and has some other relatives around. But let's keep it at 5. Let's say every person here has a direct influence in 5 lives. If he's a child, if he's a son, he has his mother, his father, he has his siblings. If he's married, he has his own nuclear family and also his parent. So let us say that, that for every family that is empowered by this creation of jobs, they're going to affect a minimum of 5 lives. That is what 1.5 million people directly affected by job creation of 300,000. 1.5. I mean, this is a direct, implication of creation of 300,000 jobs. We're not talking about the indirect jobs that will be generated as a result of increase in local content in Nigeria. So as we begin to wind down on this segment of today's video, I would like to highlight some of the progress reports, from the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. First, I want to remind you that the Nigerian Content and Development Board, even the NNPC, do not have their own personal building. For if they were inaugurated in 2010, and their building, the NCDMB headquarters in Bayelsa, was commissioned in 2020. For about 10 years of operating, they didn't have a building of their own. NNPC, for the longest time, didn't have a building of their own. But the current headquarters of the NCDMB right now was built from scratch to finish by Nigerians. It is the first skyscraper to be built by Nigerians from scratch to finish. Okay, and it has gone on to attain a lot of strides in its short time, since 2016 up until now. So this report I'm giving to you right now, is a report as far back as 2021. So as far back as 2021, we had seen an increase in 80% of all fields being operated by Nigerians. 80% of all fields in Nigeria are operated by Nigerians. 15% of all production is by local companies. 60% of domestic gas supply in Nigeria is by local companies. 100% of cable manufacturing for the oil sector is by local players. So we have the 5,000 barrel per day Walter Smith refinery. That's a modular refinery that is, that is private owned. It is by local players. We have the launch of the $350 million Nigerian Content Fund. As we speak, as of the year 2022, the Nigerian Content Development Board had raised $500 million. $500 million. This is by local players. The NLNG Train 7, I will drop the link of this video in the description below. The LNG, I made a video about the LNG Train 7. NLNG Train 7, which is the initiative of the NCDMB, is supposed to bring in, between 10 to $20 billion of foreign investment. A major target of this body is to attain 70% Nigerian content by the year 2027. As we speak right now, the NCDMB has built a lot of industrial parks and is building. We have industrial parks that is being built in Bayelsa, that is being built in Cross River, that is being built in Imo State, that is being built in Akwa Ibom, my own state. What are these industrial parks about? That's where you go and make your research and make your find. So a lot has been done by the NCDMB in order to increase local content in Nigeria. And they deserve the applause that every Nigerian can give them. They've done a lot. These guys have been hardworking. I would like to take our time to really ask you guys to please follow Ajuri Ngelale. He's the SSA to the president. He's one person that when you follow him on YouTube and maybe on his other social media handles, he's going to help you better understand the work being done by this present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari in order to transition Nigeria to a global powerhouse by the year 2025. There's a lot happening, my people. Okay, I will drop his link in my videos, after, and I would really advise, please follow him. He's a good person to listen to, and he's far more deep and in-depth than I am. So you can be more informed as matters, arise, in the country. So this will come to the end of this video. I am sure you have enjoyed what you've heard, and it has been very engaging, very enlightening. I am happy to make the video. I'm happy to discover these things I know and to share them with you. This is why I appeal that you like this video, so this video can gain more traction on YouTube, that you share it, you engage with it, you make research. Please make research of the things you hear on this channel. Go out there and make research. An easy way to help you, I will drop the link of a Telegram channel I am part of on all my videos moving forward. Join this Telegram channel. It existed, it was created in 2021. It has records of good things that have happened in Nigeria from 2021 till date. It is up to date. It would blow your mind. Join it, buy data, go to the beginning, go through those things, read through the messages there, watch the videos, engage, update yourself on things happening in the country, and be better informed. Okay, so this way we're going to end for today. Like, share, subscribe till we see again. Godspeed.